Thanks, Phil. Neil, go for it.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's kind of an open question, really. As you know, Sarah, and lots of people here, I'm running events to connect the creative industries, the marketing guys with freelancers and people coming in and entrepreneurs taking up that action. One of the things that we've come across is that agencies that we've experienced so far, we've run events in Warrington and sort of Liverpool, the next one is here in Manchester, is that agencies are kind of keen on what we do, but when it comes to the reality of actually turning up, if a client says, I need something, they run and do it. Now, that might be the right business sense, but it seems to me that agencies, because I'm not from an agency background, I'm publishing and marketing. It seems to me that agencies actually struggle with time management, and they always kind of running from one thing to the next. And I just wonder, you know, kind of because I'm in agency land here, if someone can give me some guidance here. I mean, it was mentioned about more executive education, whether that really is needed. But what is it that, you know, for instance, an event like mine needs to do to get across to the agencies why they would come? I mean, we fill it with new and original talent. Sorry, you're going to answer that, yeah? So it's just an open question, because I think my sense is, the reason I started this, there is this creative talent in the North. I think it's fantastic. I struggled to find it myself. I've struggled to find it through the events, and we're getting there, but it seems like it's really hard. It shouldn't be that hard, should it? So.
I'm going to answer that as best I can, because I'm one of those people that have tried to get to your events and have fallen into the same trap that you've just described. Just to let you all know, I'm creative director at the IF agency, and I desperately need to get in touch with various different types of freelancers, because we're a small agency and we rely on it, in all honesty. Because we're not big enough to have the talent across the, you know, spanning all of the areas which we touch on in the agency. So we do rely on it, and we understand, me very personally, understand the importance of it. But you're right, at the end of the day, on a Thursday afternoon, when the client says, I want X, then you have to deliver it, and it's very, very difficult to do that if you're not there. I don't know what the solution to that is, other than that between the hours of 7 a.m. and midnight, we're quite busy as a rule. And it is very difficult, because your event, for example, is something that would have been perfect for me, because there's certain sectors of people that I definitely want to meet that I haven't got access to at the moment, and I need. But at the end of the day, if I've got a client presentation to make and I've got to sell in however many ideas and whatever, that has to come first. And it's a real struggle, and I don't know what the solution is, other than, as we're all moving towards social media, that it ends up being something when no one ever meets face to face. And I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing or whatever, but it happens like that. I meet people on, you know, Facebook and various other networking opportunities, are mainly out of hours, which is not great, but
I think John's got something to add to that. He's certainly putting his hand up before.
Well, no, it really is interesting. I think when it comes to clients kind of sort of standing over you at sort of 7 p.m. on a Thursday night and saying, I mean, it's a weird line to walk, isn't it? Because having worked for agencies, but also having worked for companies, you know, where your boss is your boss rather than the agency is standing over you. On one hand, you can never say no, but on the other, it's all about, you have to have said no 2 weeks ago. Like, it's about sort of being, you know, managing those expectations. We've had some various clients who will remain nameless, who can be a little bit like that, and it's, I don't know, it's finding that relationship, isn't it? Where you can, you need to manage those expectations to make sure that they know they can't do that. And especially if you're a small company, it's really important for you.
Public sector suffering, you know, as with other pieces of cuts, well, the private sector has been suffering for a number of years.
Bear with us, Joe. Just get a mic over to you.
Sorry, I repeat that. We've talked a couple of times this evening about the public sector suffering cuts. Well, the private sector have been going through that, as we all, I'm sure many of us are aware.
Yeah,
have
we
been
were
going through
first,
that.
weren't we?
Yeah, we're still in it, and we've been going through it for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily about managing expectations, it's about managing budgets, but creating the best creative work, which is ultimately my passion, that we can within the timeframes that we're given, and often to the expense of the agency as opposed to the expense of the client. We're in a totally different arena. We're playing a different game than we ever was before.
I think you're absolutely right, but I don't think it's also, there's no geographical difference there. We're exactly the same problems.
Trevor, can you shed any light on this as a client? Is there anything? Have you got anything to add in terms of how? I don't know how we can agencies and clients can work together to promote the opportunities for pushing the boundaries with creative work, or just managing that kind of client expectation and that relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting hearing about the events, because I'm not sure I've heard about an event like that before, and immediately, even as the client, and it's probably more of a agency-driven event, it's quite interesting for us actually to participate in something like that as well. I mean, I think a large part of the blame lies with people like me, or people like my team. I'll blame them. Just in terms of the unrealistic expectations they do put on people, and I think in these days everyone's being more reactive than ever before, rather than getting out kind of front foot ahead of the game a little bit as well. So I don't think there's a magic solution to it, because the agency is always going to react probably short term to protect the clients that they have. There's an onus on us, but also if maybe we were going to the same events, it might be help to foster a solution to some point as well.